Hello, the syllabus number 5 class on Wednesday. I didn't record because Selena gave her half an hour talk about syllabus in primary schools and I let her be host, and when she left, I couldn't record. So this is what we did on Wednesday, the 5th of November. We talked about, once again, homework to do with gifted students and students with disabilities. So in syllabus planning, we need to take account extra material or modified material for those people who have a disability or learning needs or are gifted or quite talented. So that was what we're talking about. Selena's syllabus as well, which comes in after, and then me back again doing taxonomy of learning. So we talked about how there's 4 or 6, depending which site you look at, types of disabilities. You got physical, which is movement, sensory, like taste, touch, smell, intellectual, which can be also developmental. Then another site put these two together. So that means cognitively not 100%. Emotional. And pervasive means, well, so referring to a group of disorders characterised by delays in the development of socialisation and communication skills. And developmental is like just not going ahead as other students would normally. But another site says there's 4. So as you can see, intellectual is developmental. And the quiz that we did, so we worked out by law that students with a disability, unless they're under 70 quotient in the IQ test, they have to be with us, with normal developed people in the classroom. And this here question, so, well, that's talking about the Equal Opportunity Act, where students have to be included. Learning disability is an umbrella term, we said, because there's lots of different types of learning disabilities, as you saw previously. And modifying means to change a curriculum. So that was the answer for that one. And we have all the answers here. And that was the site that we took it from. And then we did a little game. This is a $1 million game where you keep asking the questions. So disability quiz, which I did with the students. And gifted to work out, it's only 3% of the population. And there's different types of giftedness. Like normally you just imagine gifted person is just the successful one, but also there's autonomous, does herself, himself, double labeled. So you might say emotional needs, physical needs, but also very clever. And you might have dropouts who are gifted because maybe the work was just always too easy. You have underground gifted who want to hide because they want to be as one with their peers. The challenging gifted who's really clever, therefore bored easily, and successful. And we can say someone's bright, but gifted means that's the 2 to 3% of the population. Bright is just someone who's clever, enjoys school. But this one actually enjoys learning, a gifted student. So gifted and talented as 2 to 5%, 2 to 3%. So up to 10% of students in a class are gifted and talented. It can be in one class. So then we went back to our textbook and we had Selena talk as well. This is what Selena presented to us about how we get the learning outcomes first and then we go back from that to work out the lesson plans. And learning experience. So you need to, well, she was saying that, of course, we have to have students interacting in different ways in the classroom. So in your lesson plans, you put, could be student to teacher, teacher to student, and then student to student. You have pairs and then pairs matching up. She talked about the International Baccalaureate because the school she taught at used this program. It's the PYP program, which is more of a holistic style of learning where they do arts, language, and you have to do some work for the community as well. And it leads on to the surrounding secondary schools, more so private, that have the IB as well. Now, basically, Selena mentioned, same as what I had before, curriculum is a national curriculum for primary schools and secondary in EAL. And you have the syllabus, which is really the same as the course outline. Sometimes you don't have, it's just merged. And the lesson plan. So on Compass, as a teacher, we put the lesson plan up. And then you have the chat feed as well, which the students see. So lesson plans for if you're sick and the next teacher, the emergency teacher, CRT, can have a look to get an idea what they need to do. So as you can see, you get your objectives, content, and then you look at the curriculum, and then teaching methods. So what kind of method do you use? Are you teaching children total physical response, get them up moving? Are they adults? They just want to pass IELTS? All tied in together. And then we went back to textbook again. This is just revision because next week's our last week. Assignment is due next week. Doing task analysis. As a teacher, you can look at this whether your task is good or not. So are the guided questions clear, for example? And resources, are they stated for your task? And the steps clearly stated? Okay, so if we're doing a task analysis with the teachers, it means we're cross-validating. So you can have task-based curriculum or topic-based curriculum. If it's task-based, to organise for a tradesperson to come over. So that is vague. You need to make it so it's succinct. So you'd say a 5-minute chat on telephone, and it would be you and a pair. So it's a pair work. And you need to use these grammar forms, for example. So asking permission. So could it be you come earlier, or may you, could you, are you able to? These sort of forms. So you need to say that in the task description and tie it into your learning. So if you're teaching how to pass this task, then you'd say, of course, we need to sometimes call an electrician or a plumber, and that's why we're doing this. So straight from the textbook that we use, all that sort of stuff. And then we came to the assignment, which we went over other people's assignments just to get an idea what to do. And the very last part of our class on Wednesday, I asked if they wanted to do another video about differentiated learning. So we did do that. No, I had learning Bloom's theory of taxonomy as well. So that was a lot of discussion on that, about the lots and the hots, the lower order thinking and higher order thinking, how when you go up like year 12, you want higher order thinking. So not just have the knowledge, but understand it. And then to synthesize, which means to make it. So create it. And then we did a little game once again, where you have to choose the correct one. So for example, did you agree with John Kerry or George Bush? So agree is an evaluation. So looking at Bloom's taxonomy, you have to choose one or the other. Well, there's 5 of them altogether. Imagine that you are the 3 little pigs. You are the 3rd little pig. Rewrite the story. So rewrite would be synthesis. So Bloom's taxonomy has applying, analysis, comprehension, synthesis, and knowledge. And the top one is the synthesis, followed by analysis, followed by application, then comprehension. The last one down the bottom is just knowledge. And that's a lower order thinking. And up top, synthesis is a hot. And as I said, we talked about other people also have learning theories, like this person, Gagné, slightly different to Bloom's. So he has motor skills in here. So you can see Gagné and Bloom, they're a bit different. He calls knowledge information. Comprehension, he says concepts. Application analysis, he says are principles. Synthesis, he says problem solving. Evaluation, he says attitudes. And differentiated learning, we have YouTube here, then we have questions we went through, and then down the very end here we have the answers to the questions. So why is it okay to allow beginner English learners to read text in their native language? Because if they're fluent in their L1, they'll also be fluent. Their reading will improve for L2. Why are sentence frames a good writing strategy? Because it shows students, scaffolding, what to do. It's necessary. So as you can see, we did that. Then we played a game here about differentiated learning. You have to match these ones. So you go here and you can do that game. And this is a summary. So approaches, meaning in the syllabus planning, we need to spice things up, especially if they're younger, they get bored easily. So you need to do different things. Simulation is a very specific role play. Instructional games, you get them to do something. Maybe have a prize at the end, like a treasure hunt. Or you have that online game in the city you can do where you have to use the orientation skills to find something, the little messages on various places. Cooperative learning is like jigsaw, where everyone's got a role, and then the leader of that group goes to another group and explains, and the other leader comes over to your group. Discovery, so you have a challenge. So it could just be something that has come up in discussion, like if you've got a pollution problem, maybe you decide to have the students go out and see how much rubbish they can find and work out per square 5 meters, how much, make a game out of it. Drill practice, that's like the audiolingual method where you just repeat over and over. So he says, and then you change it to they say, just to practice a third person singular, for example. And that was it. That was the end of our class on Wednesday, the 5th of November, which I did not record, hence doing now. And we had the nighttime class, which was just a continuation of that. And that's it. Thank you.